行くぞはっジェノサイカッタ
What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today we're going to see how the new BS characters stack up against all the other characters on the tier list. But before we get into this, just remember that this is just my opinion of where these characters belong, just my assessment of, what I've been able to do with them in the game so far. It's always subject to change. I've changed these tier lists before in the past. I've placed these characters in different places, especially after listening to maybe some of your feedback in the comments. So remember, I always am willing to change this. But this is where I feel these characters are sitting right now. And I'll go ahead and pull it up for you. And as you can see, I do have Guinness up here at number 1. And I do have Leona at number 1. And I do think they're well deserving of being. I mean, I don't think anyone would deny that the power creep from these characters is absolutely nuts. They are crazy, crazy strong. Although I will say that Leona's probably got a little bit more of that than Guinness. I mean, I do believe that she is stronger overall. Like, I think she has better survivability. They got the same core with the shield, but she's a defensive character. She just is a lot tankier than him. She can just take a lot more damage than Guinness. Guinness is a bit more fragile, but whenever you're looking at the red characters here, Guinness, I mean, this was actually very tough, and I might even change this. I don't even know. Guinness, I have no doubt, is stronger than any of these red characters. I have no doubt that he's stronger. I almost bet money that he's stronger than any of them. He is freaking powerful. But like a character like Neo Tanga, and I would even say even maybe Honoka here, probably have better survivability than him. But I mean, he does have a great leadership. But see, the thing about Neo Tanga is she's got a great leadership for all the female fighters in the game, the PG rate leadership, which is really great for Immortal Dungeons. And the thing about Guinness's leadership is it's really great. It is, 65% increase to red element fighters is massive. But it's only for the red fighters, whereas someone like Neo Tanga is going to be for all the females. No matter what color they are, no matter what type they are, they all get that 20% PG rate and that 45% increase of attack, on top of Neo Tanga just being so highly defensive, man. Her survivability is just through the freaking roof. And I would argue better than Guinness. But Guinness's damage is better. It is better. And in PvP, Guinness is better too. This is my PvE tier list, as you can all see. But to be fair, he is. He's a freaking god in PvP. But it really is hard for me because, when I look at utility, right? When I look at a character's utility, I almost think that Neo Tanga would be better as far as utility, as far as just overall throughout the game. Because of her leadership, right? Because of her survivability tools. But Guinness, Guinness is actually good in Guild Raid. He's not the best against Nightmare Geese. I think if you put him on a team with other characters, then it's going to be a different story, right? If you're just using his 3PG and you just spam his skills a little bit, go use his 3PG, he's going to be absolutely insane for it. But he only has bleed. And that's kind of the thing about the character. Same with Neo Tanga, by the way, is he just has bleed. He doesn't have this, he does have shock. But his shock damage is, the default is his shock damage is only on his core finisher. And that damn thing can go straight through Nightmare Geese. It is annoying as hell. Now, I've seen people do some really cool runs with him. His damage is just crazy, guys. I tested him in Spider Robot versus some pretty powerful characters, which I'll probably show you in the future. But his damage is through the roof. It really is. I think he belongs pretty much in this number 1 spot. Now, as far as Leona, I don't think people would argue it. They might argue about Zero here because Zero really is nuts. But the thing about Zero, and I need to correct myself from the last video, is Zero's HP, his shield, actually shows up when he gets below 50% HP. So he can take an insane amount of damage early on. I don't think anybody would argue that Leona has better survivability than Zero here because her HP shield has there's no percentage on it, right? She's going to have the HP shield no matter what. She's going to have a shield no matter what throughout her entire HP pool, right? Whereas someone like Zero here, if you take a look at these characters, Zero's, whenever he gets down to, 50% HP, that's when his shield actually shows up. Cast a shield that absorbs damage attacked when 50% or less. And, with a character like Leona, or Guinness for that matter, it's a different world, right? Because they have no HP pull regarding their shield. right? I mean, well, Leona's gets the shield when it's 50% or more. So she gets it early on. She gets it through the first half of her HP pool. So, I mean, in my opinion, I mean, this is just like Neo Tanga's, right? Let's see where Neo Tanga's at here. Yeah, Neo Tanga's is the same way. And it's just, I think it's just a lot more powerful when the shield's at the very beginning during the first 50% of your HP, rather than, it kicking in during your, when you get below 50% HP. It just seems to have better survivability. But, I mean, in all fairness, Leona is a defensive character. She just has higher defensive stats than other characters, and especially against Zero. And she's just going to have a lot better survivability. Zero, I know on my free-to-play account, man, he can die pretty damn easy if not played properly. But, I mean, he does have the poison damage. That's kind of the thing about Leona that isn't so great, is the fact that all she has is the burn damage, but her damage is so good. Like, I've seen this character on teams hit over 5 billion in guild raid. Not to mention the character has an amazing leadership for BS fighters, right? I mean, she's just, unlike Zero's here, where his leadership only applies to purple fighters, her leadership applies to all the BS fighters, no matter what color they are, no matter what type they are. So, I mean, it's kind of a matter of opinion on what you think is actually better. Personally, I think that BS Leona's leadership is better because she's going to buff stronger characters in the game. She's going to buff the BS fighter characters. So if you have any other BS fighters, she's going to give them that 20% PG rate along with the increased attack. And we all know how freaking insane the BS fighters are. And I'm getting to the point with the tier list now. It's like, all of the BS and SS characters except for BS Orochi are in the triple S tier because, I mean, they're so strong that and even some collaboration, they're so strong that I just feel they belong there. I mean, I really do. Like Marie here doesn't get a lot of love, but man, she really is a damn good character. She really is nuts. Oh, as time goes by and as we keep getting all this power creep and all these BS and SS characters and future collaboration characters, I mean, I might have to change this up a little bit. I might have to do some things a little bit different. Maybe I'll make a tier list just for BS and SS characters. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it because we're getting quite an abundance of them. I mean, right now, we have... How many do we have? We have 7, 14, 19 BS and SS characters all together. I mean, it's just racking up, right? Because Netmarble keeps just pushing these characters like when you push your kids out to go to school, right? I mean, that's exactly what this is. And I haven't added, the other characters. I haven't added BS Zero yet. I haven't added BS Maxima. I'm going to add them in the future. Kind of waiting for Ignis, to be perfectly honest, but it might be a good while before he shows up. So, I mean, actually, we got 20 characters. We actually got 20 BS and SS characters because I actually forgot about Ignis there for a second. But all in all, I do think that, these characters do belong in the spots that I do have them in. I do think that Guinness does belong in number 1. He's just so strong, guys. His damage is just so crazy. And yeah, survivability isn't as good as Neo Tanga's, and I don't really think his leadership is as good as hers. And that's why, I really feel like Neo Tanga does have a little bit more, maybe, utility. But Guinness, I mean, he's going to be great in Spider Robot. He's going to be great in Guild Raid. He's going to be great in all the Immortal Dungeons. I mean, his damage is just crazy. And Leona, I mean, we've all seen Leona. I mean, Leona really is the shining light. And I don't say that because she's my waifu. I mean, she's just the shining light of this update because she's so strong that she's even outshining this guy, which nobody expected. Nobody thought that Leona was actually going to be stronger than Guinness, especially considering that she's a defensive character and he's an attack. It just blows your mind. So it just goes to show you that Netmarble can make a character strong no matter what type they are. It doesn't matter if they're defense, balance, or attack. So we really can't be going by those things in the future, that's for sure. I mean, BS Chrysalis is a shining example of how strong a character can be as a balance type fighter. It just doesn't matter anymore as long as they give these characters these insane increased target damage received buffs, give these increased, increased to certain dot damage buffs, certain dot explosions. All these things make a huge difference. The imprint zones that we can actually put on the characters. I mean, all these things make a big difference. And even though Leona only has burn and Zero does have poison and bleed, I just think that Leona's just a much better character. I mean, you can set her up to where she can just break the meter no matter what dot is being applied in Guild Raid. So let me know how y'all feeling about the tier list. Do you think that Leona belongs to number 1? I'm actually pretty confident about where Leona's at. And do you think that Guinness belongs to number 1? Now, Guinness, I mean, his damage is definitely number 1, but I don't know, because of Neo Tango's leadership and because of the fact that she just has better survivability than him, I don't know. I'm not really sure exactly if I want to put her above. I mean, honestly, Netmarble makes this extremely hard where you should actually value the characters. It really depends on where you value them and what game modes. I do think Guinness is going to be better for Guild Raid than Neo Tango, but I do think that Neo Tango, because of her leadership and her survivability, is probably going to be better for Immortal Dungeons. Both of them have bleed, but Guinness does have shock on his default, so that is something to think about. Although I think his default is actually going to be useful in the Immortal Dungeons and in the Spider Robot more than it's going to be in Guild Raid, because again, whenever he does his core finisher, he just flies through the bosses, man. It's honestly really, really annoying. But again, let me know how y'all feeling about this tier list, and I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT plus 7 time. The link is in the description below, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.